A great day overall for us. We started off the race really good, and then as the race went on, we got shuffled back there to third, and then on a restart back to fourth, fifth. And, it's funny, but think back to those little moments where we were racing people so hard that those little spots we gained at the end of the day were really what made it happen on that last restart. So just pretty proud of all these guys, and we've grown a lot since Daytona and getting to this point and getting a win here. And beating the 18 and the 42 is a really big day for us, and pretty cool to be the first Xfinity regular to get a win.
Okay, we'll now open it up for questions for Eric, Chris, and Steve. We'll start in the back here with Jerry.
Jerry Jordan, former Station Network and Kick 'em Tires. Eric, not only did you win once today, you won twice. Talk about beating Kyle and getting the win here.
Yeah, pretty cool to be the first guy to win the heat races, I guess you could say. Getting a win there in the heat race and then getting a win in the main. That was, I guess if you would have asked me at 20 to go where we'd finish, I probably would have said third or fourth. But the last restart, just all the holes opened up that we needed to, and we were able to take advantage of them and make something out of it. And just a pretty cool day, probably one of the coolest finishes that I've ever been a part of, and come out on the good end of. That always makes them a little bit cooler, I guess, for someone. But just a cool day for us overall. If you would ask me at the start of the year if Bristol was going to be the place where we get our first win, I'd say, well, no, probably not. It's a place where I like it okay, but the racing is tough and it's hard to pass. But pretty cool to get a win here, and everybody wants to win at Bristol, and it's really tough to do. And it's just getting yourself in the right position, and nice to be able to do it.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Taylor and then go over to Alan over here on your left, Eric.
Taylor Starr, NASCAR.com. So, Eric, $100,000 is a lot of money, and you're a young guy. What are your plans to spend it?
I don't know. What do you think, Chris?
I'm going to start with Red Rocks tonight.
Well, I guess I got to take Gabe Hart to dinner. And then after that, well, we're all going to dinner, so that's going to be a big bill already, I can tell. But after that, I don't know. I'll probably put it away, and I don't know. I don't like to buy too many things, so.
Okay, next question from Alan.
Alan Cavana, Fox Sports 1. Eric, you're on the phone with somebody and getting pretty emotional. I know wins are emotional, but this one seemed something was different. Who were you on the phone with?
Yeah, not to bring the mood down in here, but I was actually talking with my parents, my dad. I figured we need to announce it at some time. He actually got diagnosed with cancer about a month ago, and he's going through treatment now. And he's missed the last few weeks, so just on the phone with him and my mom, and just pretty emotional. It was the first race win that they haven't been here for, so hard to hold the emotions back for that one.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Bob, and then Gary, and then over to Stan.
Bob Parker, ESPN. Did you learn anything or get anything out of that 50-lap heat race?
Yeah, I think so. We made adjustments, so I think we definitely learned something and learned a little bit about the track widening out and where we were going to be running the feature or the main. I really started to see just how high we were going to be running. I knew if we were that high just in the heat race that once we got to the main, we were going to be all the way up against the wall, and we were there for the last half of the race. So we were able to make some adjustments. We were free off and got a little bit better there. So I liked it. It was something different, something unique, and gave us a chance to work on our stuff before the race, which I thought was pretty helpful.
Okay, Gary.
Gary Graves, Associated Press. When you see Kyle and Kyle battling up there for most of that race, I mean, how patient were you or impatient were you? And when you got that caution, you just kind of figured it's go time?
Yeah, I was. I'd say I was pretty impatient once we got behind. I was frustrated for sure that we had lost the lead and we weren't able to keep up with them like I would hope we were. And on that restart, I didn't necessarily see Kyle squared. I saw, two cars that we needed to pass to get to victory lane, and we took the restart, and it worked out perfect. Like I said, it couldn't have been any better. The 18 got a little bit of a slow restart, and we were able to get to the bottom, get singled out, and then Kyle Larson didn't run where I thought he would all the way up against the wall, and we just went up there and got it to stick and got to the outside of him. And I knew from there we were in a really good spot, just being able to hold him down.
Next question from Stan.
Yeah, Stan Creekmore with RPMTonight.com. I actually have two questions. Eric, did Kyle Busch come up to Victory Lane and say anything to you?
No, he didn't. I'm sure I'll get a text later tonight. He always congratulates me some way, but it definitely was fun to be able to beat those guys. You know, it's a big day. Like I said, I wish we could have ran with them all day, but at the end of the day, there's one lap that matters, and we were leading it. So it is definitely a cool day to get a win and be the first Xfinity regular to do it. That's a pretty special moment.
And Mr. Crew Chief, what did
Here we go. First question for Chris Gabehart in his media center availability.
What did you tell your driver with 3 laps to go?
Well, I mean, it really started before that. 2 restarts before we were in third, and the bottom obviously has a bit of a disadvantage, and we fell back to fifth, and it was really important for us to get the spot back from the 3 car in order to put us in a good position if a caution was to come out. And when it did, we were restarting fourth, and I was just really on him to keep his tires clean and keep the car ready to go and not to get outworked. You know, these drivers in those cars, there really are no timeouts in this sport. Every second of every lap, they need to be doing something to gain an advantage on their competition, and clearly today Erik did that.
Any questions from the press box? Okay. Any final questions down here in the media center? Okay, we'll go down here in the front to Jim.
JimMutterMotorsport.com. For both Erik and Chris, do you think the format today, or perhaps it was just the shorter main race, contributed to what many perceived as a kind of a more aggressive and entertaining Xfinity race?
Yeah, I honestly think that was a great length for a race here, really. Any longer, and it kind of would have been drug out. And at 200 laps, you got to run pretty hard for the majority of the whole race. And it was interesting. We all kind of thought it'd be a one-stop race, but tires actually wore out so much that we did have to pit again. And that I thought it was great. I thought 200 laps was a good distance for us. And like I said, we had to run pretty hard the whole time.
Yeah, I would agree with Erik. I think in 200 laps, you know you're not going to get many chances to try to make the car better and shuffle the field. So you got to make most of every lap, and every position matters. And we just really took advantage of that. Got off a little bit in the middle of the race, and man, golly, you're racing Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch, 2 of the best in the sport, and Kyle Busch certainly the hottest guy in the sport right now. So. To keep pace with them the whole race, we weren't quite there, and we're going to keep working at that. We're a young team that's going to get better, and I think we can run with them. Certainly, we proved that today. But when it counted there at the end, there was nobody I wanted in my race car more than him, and he made it happen.
Okay, we'll take another question from Jerry.
Jerry Jordan, Performance Solutions Network, kicking the tires again. Erik, you made the chase. Chris, also, for you guys both, if you want to answer, what implications is this for you guys? Is it kind of a relaxer going forward? Does it make you want to take more chances?
Yeah, I think in a way we're relaxed, more after this. Not that we were, worried about making the chase, but definitely it's nice to just have that feeling of comfort for sure. So I don't think we'll change much. We're still going to race for wins every week, and I still feel like we're pretty aggressive, weeks prior to going for the win in general. So I don't think it's going to change a whole lot, but it's nice to have that feeling waking up every morning knowing that we're locked in for the end of the season.
Yeah, I would say this sport's about winning. Nobody shows up to run second or third, and nothing really changes that, especially with a competitor as fierce as Erik and myself. But to get the first one behind us for the year and know that we can surely focus on the last 7 races and build on this momentum is something that's definitely going to prove valuable for our race team.